The Night Whispers. Part 2. Night settled over the city like a curtain of black velvet, heavy and soundless. The air was colder tonight, the kind of cold that crawled under your skin and stayed there. Jack sat at his desk, the faint glow of the old radio illuminating his tired face. The static hum filled the small apartment like a restless ghost. He told himself it was just another night, another broadcast, another round of meaningless noise. But deep down, he knew the signal was different now. Ever since that strange transmission a week ago, he hadn't slept properly. The air around the radio always felt wrong, charged, almost alive. The static shifted, crackling softly. Jack leaned closer. Beneath the noise, he could almost make out something. Words, faint and distorted. "Jack!" He froze. The voice was soft, like breath against glass. "Jack, can you hear us?" He swallowed hard and adjusted the dial. The voice faded, replaced by bursts of interference, then came back clearer this time. "You shouldn't listen at night." Jack's hand trembled. "Who is this?" No answer. Just the hum of static again, like the radio itself was thinking. He turned the dial slowly, scanning for another frequency, but every station was the same. Just noise, sometimes interrupted by a whisper, sometimes a laugh. It sounded like people talking far away, underwater, trapped somewhere between stations. His reflection in the window looked pale, unreal. The city beyond was asleep except for the flicker of a streetlight that seemed to pulse in rhythm with the static. The voice returned. "You're still listening, Jack." He jerked back from the radio. The voice knew his name, his tone, his hesitation. How do you know me?" he whispered. "Because you've called before." Jack's stomach twisted. "No, I haven't." But even as he said it, he felt a sting of doubt. Had he? There were nights he didn't fully remember. Nights where he'd wake up sitting in front of the radio, the signal still humming. The voice laughed softly, dry, distorted, like old tape playback. "Do you remember the night it started?" Jack shook his head. "What do you want from me?" Silence. Then very faintly a whisper answered, "To finish what you began." The lights flickered. The temperature dropped. He heard something behind him, a slow creak as if the floorboards sighed under a hidden weight. He turned quickly. The apartment was empty. The radio crackled again. "Look out the window." His pulse quickened. He stood, every muscle tight. The window pane glowed faintly from the streetlight outside, but something was wrong with the reflection. His own face stared back, but behind it, something else moved. A second silhouette, darker than the shadows. He spun around. Nothing. When he turned back, the reflection was normal again, but now the static wasn't just noise. It was breathing. Slow, ragged breathing, perfectly matching his own. Jack took a step closer to the radio, his throat dry. "Who are you?" The voice didn't answer this time. Instead, it began to hum, a tune that was horribly familiar. It was a melody from his childhood, one his mother used to sing when the power went out. He froze. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. "How do you know that song?" Silence. Then almost tenderly, "Because you used to hum it to us." He felt dizzy. The room tilted slightly. The word "us" echoed in his head, reverberating through his bones. He slammed the power switch, but the radio stayed on. The hum grew louder, the voice clearer. "Don't turn away, Jack. You called us first." The walls seemed to close in. The flickering lamp above the desk buzzed and went out, leaving him in darkness. Only the red glow from the radio remained. The static stopped. A new sound replaced it, footsteps, slow, dragging, echoing as if from a distant hallway. He held his breath. The steps grew louder, closer. Then nothing. Just the whisper of air moving through the room. Jack exhaled shakily and turned back toward the desk, only to see that the radio was no longer glowing. It was pitch black. And then, softly, it spoke again. "Behind you." Jack froze. The voice was right behind him this time, close enough that he could feel its breath brush the back of his neck. He turned slowly, every nerve in his body screaming. No one was there. The shadows stretched longer than they should have, bending unnaturally across the walls. His own reflection in the dark glass of the window looked delayed, lagging behind his movements by a fraction of a second. He stumbled backward until his knees hit the edge of the table. The radio clicked back on by itself, light bleeding from the dial. It began cycling through frequencies rapidly, like someone, or something, was tuning it from the other side. Voices bled together, crying, laughter, fragments of conversation. One phrase repeated again and again between the static. "Pick up the call." Jack's eyes darted around the room. "What call?" The phone in the corner rang. A deep, mechanical sound, distant at first, then louder. Each ring vibrated through the floorboards like a heartbeat. He hesitated, then took a step toward it. The ringing stopped. Then, 3 soft knocks on the wall. Jack backed away, his hand trembling as he reached for the radio's cord again. The second his fingers brushed it, the voice returned, calm and clear. "Don't hang up this time." He froze. "Hang up what?" The phone rang again, shrill, almost human in its tone. He couldn't stand the sound anymore. He grabbed the receiver and pressed it to his ear. Silence. Then a whisper, quiet, shaky, identical to his own voice. "Jack, can you hear me?" He felt his blood turn to ice. "Who is this?" The whisper matched his every inflection, his every tremor. "It's me." "You. You called me last week." He wanted to throw the phone across the room, but his hand wouldn't move. The other voice continued, soft, almost pleading. "You shouldn't have listened." "They heard you." They found the line. "Who did?" Jack whispered. The voice hesitated. "The ones behind the static." The sound on the other end changed. No longer a whisper, but breathing. Heavy, rasping, wet. It grew louder until it drowned out everything else. Then came the faint sound of someone crying, his own voice again, from a distance. "Stop it," he muttered, shaking his head. "This isn't real. This is happening." The voice finished for him. He dropped the phone. It hit the floor and went silent, but the radio immediately screamed, an inhuman, mechanical shriek that pierced his skull. The sound twisted into words. "You opened the signal." "You can't close it now." Jack clamped his hands over his ears, but the noise was inside his head. The apartment vibrated. Books fell from shelves. The light bulb above him exploded. He fell to his knees, gasping. Then suddenly everything stopped. The silence was suffocating. Even the city outside seemed gone. No wind, no traffic, no hum of life. Just stillness. Jack looked around slowly. The red glow from the radio returned. Faint at first, then brighter. The screen displayed a single word, LIVE. And then his own voice began to play. "This is Jack, broadcasting from downtown. If anyone can hear me, please respond." He stared at the radio, horrified. It was a recording of him, or was it happening now? The voice on the radio continued, perfectly matching his own tone. Every hesitation, every breath. "The city's quiet tonight. Too quiet. I think I'm alone here. But I keep hearing them whisper." Jack felt dizzy. That was his broadcast from the night he first heard the signal. He remembered it clearly, because right after those words, the static had begun. "If anyone's out there," the voice continued, "don't listen to the noise. Once you hear it, it hears you too." The radio flickered, and the voice changed, warped, layered with other tones, deeper, distorted. "You said you wanted to understand," it hissed. "Now you're part of the frequency." Jack stumbled back. "No! Stop!" The sound grew louder, surrounding him. The room shook again, the floorboards groaning under invisible weight. Shadows on the walls twisted into human shapes, faces without features, mouths moving in silent screams. The radio flared white. Jack screamed and shielded his eyes. When he opened them, everything was still. The static was gone, the light steady. The radio sat quietly on the table, dark and harmless. Jack exhaled shakily and stepped closer. Maybe it was over. Maybe he'd finally imagined everything. He reached to unplug the cord when the radio clicked again. A single voice came through, calm, familiar, his own. "Don't go yet, Jack. We're still on air." He froze. What? Turn around. He did and saw himself standing in the doorway. Same face, same clothes, same expression of fear. The other Jack smiled faintly. You finally tuned in. The lights went out. The last thing Jack heard was the radio whispering softly, as if speaking directly into his ear. We told you the night never ends. End of part 2.